The Bravery of Miriam. A long time ago, there was a girl named Miriam. She was one of God's people who lived in a country called Egypt. God's people had been captured by the Egyptians because the king there, who was called a pharaoh, had wanted some people to work for him. After a while, though, the pharaoh didn't like the fact that God was blessing his people even when they were slaves, and he started to be really mean to them. He was so mean that he decided they wouldn't be allowed to have any more baby boys, and he ordered his soldiers to search out all the baby boys that they found in God's people and throw them into the river. This order really worried Miriam because she had a baby brother who she loved. His name was Moses. He had been born 3 months ago and was big and strong. He was just learning to hold his head up and had started smiling at Miriam when she talked to him. The problem was that he was getting really loud. Their mother, Jochebed, was trying to hide him from the Pharaoh's soldiers, but it was getting harder and harder. Jochebed decided that she had to try a new way of hiding Moses, and she needed Miriam's help. She knew that the Pharaoh had ordered that baby boys were to be put in the river, so she thought to do that, but first she'd build him a boat. She and Miriam put baby Moses into the basket boat in the reeds at the edge of a quiet part of the river. They hoped that the movement of the river would lull Moses to sleep, and no one would notice him there. Jochebed and Miriam prayed that God would protect their little Moses. Miriam couldn't bear to walk away and leave Moses there alone, though, so she asked her mother if she could stay and watch out for him. Jochebed said it was okay, but warned Miriam to stay hidden in case soldiers came by. Miriam was a little frightened to be out by the river alone, not knowing who might come around. She tried to be quiet and still and calm and trust God, but it wasn't easy. In the distance, Miriam heard some women talking and laughing, and then she realized they were coming closer and that they were speaking the fancy Egyptian used by the royal court. Miriam tried to shrink back further into the reeds at the edge of the river so she wouldn't be seen. As she peeked out, she saw it was the Pharaoh's own daughter and her handmaids. Now Miriam was really scared. If the Pharaoh was mean, his daughter was probably mean too. Then Miriam saw that the royal princess was going to get down into the river right near where Moses was floating, and her heart sank. When the princess asked one of her maids to bring her the little basket boat, Miriam thought that her baby brother was a goner, but she didn't see what she could do about it. She watched as the princess opened the basket and picked up little Moses, who started crying. Miriam's heart wrenched. But when she looked at the princess's face, Miriam was amazed. The princess didn't look angry or mean. She had a big smile, and she was cooing and bouncing Moses to try to comfort him. The princess said, "Such a beautiful little guy. I want to call him my own. But I bet he's hungry, and I don't have any milk to give him." Miriam heard this, and she knew that this was her chance. She knew she could get in trouble for speaking to the princess, but she had to risk it. She stood up and ran over and said, "I know someone who can breastfeed the baby. I can run and get her." The princess said, "Yes, could you go get her for me?" Miriam nodded, and she ran. She ran faster than she had ever run in her life. When she got to her house, she burst in the door all out of breath. She grabbed her mother's hand and started pulling and trying to explain and gasp air all at once. Jochebed said, Child, is it Moses? Is he all right?" Miriam blurted out, "Oh, Mother, he's saved. The Pharaoh's daughter pulled him from the river, and she loves him, and she told me to come get you so you could breastfeed him, and when he's done needing milk, he's going to live in the palace." Jochebed could scarcely believe what she heard, but went with Miriam back to the river, and it was all true. Moses got to come back home and live safely, and when he was a little boy, not a baby, he went to live in the royal palace. And it was all possible through Miriam's bravery.